Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. What is happening to Diep as she continues to be stopped from being with CEO James? Meanwhile, CEO James's company has officially resumed normal operations after many ups and downs. Most surprisingly, Min has unexpectedly decided to collaborate with the company. Could this be a major turning point? Everything will be revealed right now. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the next developments. Let's get started. Quote, Diep's uncle came to see her and asked James to step outside so they could talk in private. He seriously warned Diep to stay away from James, insisting that he was not as good as she thought and reminding her that he had warned her many times before. Diep didn't understand why her uncle was so against James. She had always seen him as a good person. However, her uncle claimed that many people had negative opinions about James, and that his family was full of mysteries. He mentioned that James's father had recently returned but left in a hurry after meeting someone, subtly implying that something suspicious was going on. When questioned about James's background, Diep had no real answer. She assumed that she was being discouraged from being with James because of her poor background and the fact that she had been married before. However, her uncle insisted that there were many other reasons she had yet to uncover. Finally, he emphasized that if Diep didn't listen, she would have to take full responsibility for whatever consequences followed. His warning left Diep feeling confused and doubtful. Should she continue trusting James? Or were the secrets surrounding him truly something to worry about? After accepting the responsibility of leading the company, Min realized that he needed to change, not just in mindset, but also in appearance, to truly embody the confidence and authority of a CEO. Determined to reinvent himself, Min stepped into a barbershop. The mirror in front of him reflected his old self, a slightly unkempt hairstyle and a look that didn't quite match the role of a leader. But in just a few moments, everything would be different. The steady sound of scissors filled the air as strands of hair fell to the floor. Symbolizing Min's transformation, he closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, his mind filled with ambitious plans for the future. Today, it wasn't just his appearance that was changing, he himself was stepping into a new chapter. With a fresh haircut and a renewed sense of confidence, Min was now ready to face the challenges ahead, carrying the aura and determination of a true CEO. Quote, CEO James decided to take Diep to explore a signature Vietnamese dish, grilled pork rolls, nem nun, asterisk. He drove slowly through the bustling streets, the streetlights reflecting off the car windows, creating a shimmering and warm atmosphere. When they arrived, Diep was a little surprised. The place wasn't a fancy restaurant but a small roadside eatery, somewhat cramped yet filled with customers. The enticing aroma of grilled meat filled the air, making her more curious than ever. James gave her a warm smile. Asterisk. Have you ever tried nem nun before? Diep shook her head, eyes wide with curiosity. Asterisk. Never. James chuckled, his gaze filled with amusement. Asterisk. I eat here often. The food is amazing. You should try it. They sat at a small table, and soon, the staff brought out a golden brown plate of grilled pork rolls along with fresh herbs, rice noodles, and rice paper. James gently guided Diep. Asterisk. Take a little bit of everything. Roll it up like this. Then dip it into the sauce. Make sure to dip it well. Diep carefully followed his instructions. She made a neatly wrapped roll, dipped it into the flavorful sauce, and took a bite. As soon as the taste hit her tongue, the delicious combination of grilled meat and sauce made her eyes light up with excitement. Asterisk. It's so good. This is my first time eating this, she explained, her eyes sparkling like a child discovering something delightful. James smiled, picked up another roll, and handed it to her. Asterisk. Eat more, you have to experience the full flavor. The atmosphere between them became lighthearted and intimate. James was no longer the cold and distant CEO but just a man sharing simple, everyday moments with someone he cared about. After their cozy meal, James paid the bill and then turned to Diep with a playful look in his eyes. Asterisk. Let's go, he said simply. Diep tilted her head in curiosity. Asterisk. Where are we going? James didn't answer right away. Instead, he gently took her hand and led her forward. She didn't resist, she simply followed him through the bustling street. Before long, they stopped in front of a small but elegant hair washing salon. Asterisk. You're tired, right? Let's relax a little. Diep was a bit surprised, but seeing the gentle look in James's eyes, she nodded. The staff quickly welcomed them inside. She sat down, letting her long hair fall freely after a long day. As the warm water flowed through her hair, she felt herself completely relax. The staff began massaging her scalp with gentle, skillful fingers, bringing an unexpected sense of comfort. James never took his eyes off Diep. He leaned against the wall behind her, silently observing every expression on her face. For the first time, he saw her looking so peaceful. Her eyes were half closed, lips slightly curved into a soft smile, as if she were truly savoring this rare moment of relaxation. Asterisk. How does it feel? James suddenly asked. Diep opened her eyes, looking at him through the mirror in front of her, and smiled. Asterisk. It feels amazing. It's been a long time since I felt this relaxed. James smiled but said nothing more. He simply continued watching her, in the midst of all the chaos and struggles outside. This moment was truly worth cherishing. As the staff applied essential oils to her hair and continued the massage, James suddenly stepped closer, leaned down, and whispered softly in her ear. Asterisk. Just enjoy yourself. Tonight, I'll take you for a little walk. Diep was slightly surprised but then gently nodded. She closed her eyes again, feeling the tender care of the staff, and at the same time, sensing the quiet yet sincere concern from the man beside her. At that moment, without words, they both seemed to understand that something special was growing between them. Quote, CEO James personally took Diep home. Asterisk. How do you feel today? James's deep, warm voice resonated. Diep smiled, her eyes sparkling with joy. Asterisk. Thank you for taking me to get my hair done and for the meal. I really enjoyed it. James nodded, his gaze carrying a hint of contemplation. Asterisk. I just secured a new business partner, preparing to invest in hydropower. I'll need to head home and get ready for a meeting with them. Diep nodded and replied gently. Asterisk. Then be careful on your way home. I'm going inside to feed the chickens. James seemed like he wanted to say something more, but in the end, he simply smiled softly and looked at her for a long moment. Asterisk. Good night, Diep. Asterisk. You too. Diep waved goodbye and turned to walk inside. But just as she stepped past the gate, she suddenly froze. Right by the sidewalk, a figure was curled up, looking frail and disheveled, his clothes ragged and unkempt. Diep hesitated for a moment before cautiously approaching. Asterisk. Hey, are you okay? The man slowly opened his eyes, his voice hoarse and weak. Asterisk. Could you give me some water? Diep bent down to get a better look. Under the dim streetlights, she was stunned to realize it was John, James's former rival. Asterisk. You, John? She gasped in shock. John struggled to sit up, his face gaunt, his eyes filled with despair. Asterisk. It's me. I have nothing left. I was beaten, robbed of everything. They abandoned me here. Diep hesitated. This was the very man who once opposed James. Yet now, he looked no different from a homeless wanderer. Seeing John's pitiful state, she couldn't bring herself to ignore him. Asterisk. Come inside. I'll get you some water. John staggered to his feet and followed Diep inside. She quickly grabbed a blanket and draped it over him. Asterisk. Rest here. I'll get you some water. A moment later, she returned with a glass of water and handed it to John. Asterisk. Here, drink this. John's hands trembled as he took the glass. Sipping slowly, Diep sat down beside him, her voice gentle. Asterisk. Are you hungry? I can make you some porridge. John looked up at her, surprise flickering in his weary eyes. It was as if he couldn't believe that, in his most desperate moment, someone would be willing to help him. After a brief silence, he nodded slightly. Asterisk. Thank you. Without hesitation, Diep went into the kitchen and quickly prepared a bowl of hot porridge. When she placed it in front of John, its warmth seemed to spread through the cold, lonely room. Asterisk. Eat this. It'll help warm you up. John stared at the bowl for a moment, hesitated, then slowly took a bite. He couldn't even remember the last time he had a proper meal. And yet, in his darkest time, there was someone like Diep, someone who, despite everything, held no grudges and was willing to help him. A strange feeling stirred within John. Perhaps, this was the warmth he had lost long ago. Quote, after handling all the important matters, CEO James returned to the company and held a meeting with key employees. Is everything under control? James asked in a deep voice, his sharp gaze sweeping across the room. A staff member reported, for now, everything has been resolved, sir. The other shareholders have agreed to reinvest. Especially John. He has returned all the capital he withdrew earlier. James smirked slightly. I suppose he finally got scared and is falling behind. Another employee nodded. That's excellent news. Suddenly, the conference room door opened, and someone stepped in. Come in. Tuan, a senior employee, bowed respectfully. Good day, sir. James nodded. Hello, Tuan. Take a seat. How's the situation with employee salaries? Tuan reported. Sir, I've settled the wages for the workers. In fact, I even paid them an additional 10 days' salary. James frowned. Why did you pay them an extra 10 days' salary? Tuan calmly explained. The previous hydropower project caused them to lose trust in us. We need to compensate to rebuild the company's credibility and lay the foundation for future plans. Another employee added, James, next time we invest in a project, you should thoroughly research the investors to avoid being deceived like this again. James nodded slightly, deep in thought. That's true. This time, we were lucky to gather enough evidence. Otherwise, things could have gotten out of hand. He sighed, speaking slowly. Honestly, I never expected that a charitable project like this would be used as a tool for deception. This wasn't even a project designed for personal gain, it was mainly to help the farmers. He paused for a moment before continuing. John simply wanted to damage our company's reputation. But now, he's learned his lesson. With the evidence we've collected, it's enough to send him to jail. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. James stood up, adjusting his suit. I have to meet with a partner now. Tuan, make sure to go over all the recent issues with Hung thoroughly. Understood, sir. James nodded and exited the meeting room. As soon as he left, Tuan continued discussing with his colleagues. We're expecting about 5 truckloads of wood to be delivered to our factory soon. I've checked the quality, but it doesn't seem as good as our usual supply. I'd like to get the boss's opinion on whether we should accept it. Another employee pondered. If the wood quality is subpar, it could harm our company's reputation. Tuan nodded. Exactly. We're building a long-term, reputable brand. If the wood doesn't meet our standards, we shouldn't bring it in. The market is highly competitive right now, and only high-quality products will help us maintain our position. Everyone agreed unanimously. The meeting continued, discussing new strategies in preparation for a bold transformation of the company. Quote, the sound of footsteps echoed through the peaceful countryside as CEO James approached a man who had been waiting. James. Are you Mr. Min? Min. That's me. Nice to meet you. James narrowed his eyes, looking at the man in front of him, a sense of familiarity rising. James. Why do you look so familiar to me? Min smiled and nodded. Min. I feel the same way. You look very familiar. It's a pleasure to meet you. James nodded, his sharp gaze friendly yet observant. James. I heard from my secretary that you're interested in investing in road and bridge projects to help provide water for the people. Is that correct? Min nodded slightly, listening attentively. James. I'm glad we could meet today. We have many similar projects, and our primary goal is to help farmers. In terms of profit, there might not be much in the early stages, but the long-term value is significant. More importantly, we want to build roads and bridges that make travel easier for the locals. James pointed toward the distance, where a rushing stream flowed. James. Look over there. Without bridges like these, when heavy rains come, it becomes incredibly difficult for people to get around. Their goods and agricultural products can't be transported easily. They have to wade through the stream, which is sometimes very dangerous. Moreover, during major floods like the Yagi storm, the water overflows, flooding the fields, and their makeshift bridges can't withstand it. This endangers both their lives and their properties. James paused for a moment, then continued. James. Asterisk. That's why I am determined to pursue this project. Have you thoroughly researched our road and bridge projects? Mr. Min? Min slowly set his coffee cup down, his eyes deep in thought. Min. Asterisk. To be honest with you, I'm an artist. I love music and have traveled to many places. I've witnessed the hardships of the people. When I heard about your project, I was very intrigued and wanted to invest immediately. James smiled. James. Asterisk. We truly appreciate your goodwill. However, it's a bit noisy here. Why don't we move over there to discuss further? Min nodded. The two moved to a quieter corner of the cafe. James ordered 2 drinks and continued the conversation. James. Asterisk. Mr. Min. In these projects, our main focus is philanthropy, helping the community. But from an investment perspective, of course, everyone hopes for some returns. Do you have any concerns about this? Min shook his head firmly. Min. Asterisk. Number. I have no concerns. When I decided to invest, I had already determined that this was about helping people rather than seeking profit. James was surprised, his eyes filled with respect. James. Asterisk. It's truly rare to find people like you. Most investors want immediate returns. I greatly admire you. He paused for a moment before continuing. James. Asterisk. However, our project still provides practical benefits for investors. For example, when you invest in building a bridge, it can be named after your company or any name you prefer. This is also an effective marketing strategy. Min nodded, listening intently. James. Asterisk. Additionally, the hydropower project will generate long-term profits. We plan to build 20 bridges and 1 hydropower plant. In the early stages, we will provide about 70% of the electricity for free to the people. But the returns will come in the long run. Min gave a small smile, his gaze distant. Min. Asterisk. I have researched your company thoroughly. I know your company is highly reputable, and I look forward to expanding this partnership. James nodded in satisfaction. But then, Min sighed, his expression growing thoughtful. Min. Asterisk. But there's another reason I decided to invest here. James was curious. James. Asterisk. What reason is that? Min smiled gently, his voice warm. Min. Asterisk. Because of a girl. James was slightly surprised, watching Min intently. Min. Asterisk. When I met her, I felt her innocence, purity, and kindness. Even though she has no parents, she still sacrifices herself to help others. That made me think a lot, and I decided to come back to invest in philanthropic projects like this. James was silent for a few seconds, then smiled slightly. James. Asterisk. Hearing you describe her, I feel like this girl sounds very familiar. A girl who can change your perspective. She must be someone truly special. Min nodded, his eyes filled with sincerity. James. Asterisk. I hope you can win her heart soon. And who knows, maybe she will be your companion in both work and life. Min smiled, a hint of hope in his eyes. Min. Asterisk. Thank you. James also smiled and raised his drink. James. Asterisk. To the success of our partnership. The two clinked their glasses. A new partnership had been formed. Not just for profit, but for deep humanitarian values. Quote. Today's story is not just about a project, it's about people who share the same heart. Willing to contribute to changing the lives of farmers. These bridges don't just connect two shores, they connect people, bringing hope for the future. So, what do you think about this project? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you also believe in these humanitarian values and want to join hands in helping the community. Share this video to spread this meaningful message to more people. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more inspiring stories.